Okay, there we go. Hello, beautiful ladies. I've been a little quiet lately, haven't I? You know, one of the things during this phase of life that is so supportive is when we go within. So I am going to be looking for ways to keep information coming to you, even when I am in a inward phase. As you may have known, I may or may not know that I took a solid week off to go away for my birthday. And I went with a girlfriend of mine to hot springs. And I spent my birthday alone in a hot spring that was being fed by a geyser that would go off every 45 minutes, just like right next to me. And it was so funny because they had built this geyser to contain it. They had built this structure around it, and the structure looked like a giant phallus. And every 45 minutes, this white liquid would come shooting out of this giant phallus. But here I was in this hot springs, in this field by myself, watching the raindrops drop in the water. It was so nourishing and so lovely. And then when I came back, my beautiful girlfriend cooked every meal for me on the trip, and she played the piano and sang to me, and she wrote me a poem which she read to me, and it was just so nourishing. So I really encourage all of you to create space like that for yourself several times a year, really several times a year, where there's no Wi-Fi and you're just being nourished on all levels. So important at this phase of our life. But today, that was a side note. What I wanted to share with you today was something that happened this weekend. So my beautiful stepchildren came up, and my stepson is 16. And when he was younger, he did not really love my dietary input. And as you know, I wrote a book on food, and it's a big topic in my world. And so, but we went out to lunch at this kind of high-end sort of takeout food place. And he was in the bathroom, so his dad chose a lemonade in glass, which I've trained him, to do in glass, and brought it outside and sat down. We're sitting there, and his son picks it up and turns around and reads the label. I almost, I was like, he's reading the label. And he said, "Dad, this has 70 grams of sugar." It was this big. This has 70 grams of sugar. We were like, what? That is 17 packets of sugar. Each packet has about 4 grams. So it was like, oh my goodness. I couldn't even fathom that was possible. Like I could fathom if I was going and buying a soda pop or something like that, that it would have that much sugar. But I, who, wrote a book on the subject, if you haven't read it, you should. It's called The Food Solution, because it talks about all the places that toxins are hidden, and, and why, we want to get the sugar out of our food and the toxins out of our food and all of that. It's available on Amazon. But I'm not here to sell you my book. I'm here to talk about just how bad it can be out there and why it's so important that we get educated about this and that we read labels, because I couldn't fathom. So we had also bought a kombucha, and the kombucha had like 17 grams of sugar. Now, we were using it between the 3 of us. We'd bought a Pellegrino, and we were using the Pellegrino and just using that as a little bit of a flavor. So each of us wasn't getting that much, but still, that's still a good chunk of added calories and added sugar to your diet. And if you look at your diet, one of the things that was so amazing to me being with my girlfriend is all she eats is grains and legumes every day, and nuts and seeds and fat. And she is so skinny. And we often blame carbohydrates for putting weight on. But what I really have observed is that it's not, when I eat grains and legumes and vegetables, and that's my primary diet with maybe a little protein, I don't have a weight issue. It's when I start eating packaged food, even if the packaged food is seemingly just, clean, that's when I start gaining the weight. And when I start having drinks with my food, now I was underweight for most of my life, as you know, and it wasn't until the perimenopause, menopausal years, I say, as you know, because I think you've heard me say that before, that I started navigating the weight world. I did my first diet when I was like 56 years old, right? And so, and that wasn't really a diet, it was just I got my calories under control. But if you start really reading what's in the food that is in packages that you're eating, it's shocking. 70 grams of sugar, 17 sugar packets. Now, if you think of like in Europe, and where they're much less dependent, in most parts of Europe, England, I think, is a little bit more like us, but they're much less dependent on pre-prepared food. And you go and you get like a lemonade at the restaurant. They bring you lemons and they bring you sparkling water and they bring you sugar cubes. Now, if you're going to do that, you're going to add a sugar cube, probably, maybe two, like if you're really going sweet. But could you imagine dropping in 17 sugar cubes? It would be actually more than 17 sugar cubes, because I think a sugar cube is less than what's in a packet of sugar, like half by half. So it'd be like 30 sugar cubes. Could you imagine that? So you really have to pay attention, because you could feel like you're doing everything right. But if you're eating out a lot, then you don't know what you're really getting. And if you're buying prepackaged food, then you know already that it's got less nutrition and more toxins in it, just for the fact that it's in a package, the plastic that's surrounding it, right? So during this time of life, we have to be more conscious of what we're doing. Otherwise, we're going to suffer the consequences. When we have a lot of sugar in our diet, now I know most of us like, I would never do that, but I was so shocked that it was this very innocuous looking lemonade. It did not look like something, it wasn't I would, if you said to me that a Coca-Cola, one of those giant Coca-Colas had 17 packs of sugar, and I'd be like, yeah, okay. But a little glass lemonade like this, Starbucks drinks, whoo, the calories in a Starbucks drink, they're like 2,000 calories in a lot of their frappe, latte, whatever drinks. It's crazy. So I don't want people to be trying and working to hit a goal and then not be able to hit it because of little things like they're buying a drink every time they go out, they're getting a flavored iced tea. But in actuality, that flavored iced tea has a lot of stuff in it. Yeah. So this is my little word of wisdom for you today. Read the labels, and you might want to do simple things like what I was starting to say, when I was thinner, I never, ever, ever bought drinks, ever. I always just drank water with my meals. You don't want to be drinking a lot with your meals anyway, but if I had a drink with meal, it was, I drink water. And it wasn't until I discovered Kavita that I was like, oh, wow, this is great because it's a probiotic and it's great. But if you ever read the labels on Kavita, now, this is in the past because Kavita has been bought by Pepsi and it's not the same drink. I will tell you how it's changed. But if you bought the lemon ginger, which to me sounds like not much in it, it had like a ton of carbohydrates in it. But if you bought a different one, it had very little, like that you might think it would have more. So you have to look, you have to read them. And then in general, get more reliant on drinking water instead of buying bottled things. It'll save you a lot of money, okay? And B, it will also, you won't be sneaking in those hidden calories that you're not really aware of. Same thing with salad dressings. Salad dressings, if you aren't going to a place that makes their own salad dressing, you should always ask. And if they don't make their own salad dressing, then you ask for, lemon and olive oil or just lemon on your salad or something, because salad dressings it's incredible what can be in salad dressings. I was at a natural food store and they had a cafe, and I was really hungry, and I was like, the food didn't look so good. So I was like, what's in your salad dressing? And she goes, oh, I don't know. And I go, well, can we find out? So she brought out the container of salad dressing, and the list of ingredients was like this long. And most of it were not items of food. They were chemicals. And that stuff really, really causes the body to inflame and gain weight. So that's another one, salad dressing. So if you're not in control of the restaurant you're eating at, you're not able to eat at a organic, grass-fed, farm-to-table restaurant, which is really what you should be doing, then you want to stay away from the salad dressings, and unless they make their own, okay? Because they add thickeners to them, all kinds of stuff. Just think of thickeners like guar gum and I'm not going to say this, carrageenan. Actually, I was listening to the study they were doing, and they were using it in rats to completely throw off their body to make whatever sickness they were studying. It's a food additive that they add to foods. Oh, our food system, oh, it pains me. So many people really suffer with really trying to take good care of themselves, and they don't succeed. And when I tell them why, they get so heartbroken. It's not your fault. Our food system in this country is just so sad. It really breaks my heart what we've done to our food system. So it's not your fault. It takes extra effort. For some reason, healthy food or clean food costs less money. I mean, more money. You know, add a bunch of chemicals to food and you can charge less. But you end up paying for it in your health. So nothing is a bigger endocrine disruptor than chemicals in our food, because it's going straight into the system. And chemicals, most chemicals are xenoestrogens. So you want to get them out. Sugar really stresses out the liver, and the liver is what does all the detoxifying. So it really gunks up your liver, and if you're still cycling, it can totally throw your cycle off. It can cause an overgrowth in immune challenges, which totally stress the body out. We really want to stay away from refined sugar of all kinds. We really, really, really want to learn to eat in a way that doesn't require refined sugar. So I'm not here to bum you guys out, but I am here to remind you that you got to read the labels. You really want to be eating a whole food diet. That is, what's a whole food diet? It looks like what it started as. Beans look like beans. Rice looks like rice. As you know, that kind of stuff. Meat substitutes? No, either eat the meat or don't eat the meat. But meat substitutes are either high amounts of gluten, super inflammatory, or they're been chemically processed with flavorings added to them. No, if you want a burger, eat a burger. If you don't want a burger, don't eat a burger. Don't eat a fake burger. If you want to make a grain, legume and grain thing into sort of a veggie patty, great, do that. But the stuff you buy in the store, the fake this and the beyond that, and the not food, people. And what you end up doing is eating calories without nutrition. You eat calories without nutrition, and you go into nutrient deficit. And when you're in nutrient deficit, your body has to pick and choose what it does. When it picks and chooses what it does, hormones and your immune system go down on the totem pole, because if you are in a survival mode, your body could care less whether you have a cold or whether your hormones are working properly, right? So I always say to ladies that the diet is the foundation for health. You have to eat a nutrient-dense diet that has a large variety in the right quantity for your body. And when we eat packaged food or processed food where there's a label that has a bunch of ingredients on it, we are eating chemicals, and chemicals are endocrine disruptors. They cause weight gain, they cause inflammation, they create general stress to our whole system. So that will not be supportive of you during this time. So if you're wondering what you can do for yourself to support you through, first step, clean up your diet. Get the chemicals out, get the processed food out, eat the majority of your food at home, okay? And read the labels, particularly of your drinks. So when you're getting them from the fountain, if it's in the bottle, it's got 70 grams. That lemonade in the fountain, guess what it's probably got? Okay. Sending you all so much love. We have some people coming up. We've got somebody coming up to talk to us about human design. I have somebody else coming up to talk about empty nesting. So thank you for allowing me my pause, and we will be bringing in some other experts to talk to you about their field. And if anybody in this group is an expert in something and they want to share it, please DM me and we can get on a call and see whether or not I feel like it's supportive of everybody, and happy to have you if it's along the train that we're heading. Sending you also so much love. Have a beautiful rest of your day.